On October 8, 2005, millions of people across Ivory Coast were glued to their television screens. Their national football team was just minutes away from achieving something it had never done before. For most countries, that would have been a reason to celebrate. But Ivory Coast was not like most countries. At that moment, the nation was trapped in a civil war. The country had been split in two. Government forces controlled the south. Rebels controlled the north. Thousands of people had been displaced. Families had been separated. Trust had vanished. And yet, for 90 minutes, none of that mattered. Because every Ivorian was supporting the same team. When the final whistle blew, history was made. Ivory Coast had qualified for the World Cup for the very first time. The players exploded with joy. They danced, they shouted. Some fell to their knees. It was one of the greatest moments in the country's sporting history. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of celebrating, the team's captain, Didier Drogba, picked up a microphone. Surrounded by cheering teammates, he looked directly into the camera and delivered a message that would echo across the nation. A message that had nothing to do with football and everything to do with peace. To understand why that moment mattered so much, we need to go back a few years. For decades, Ivory Coast had been one of West Africa's most stable countries. Its economy was growing. Its cities were expanding. People from neighboring countries came looking for work and opportunity. But beneath the surface, political tensions were growing. Questions about identity, citizenship, and who truly belonged in the country became increasingly divisive. As politicians fought for power, ordinary people found themselves caught in the middle. Then in 2002, everything changed. A failed coup attempt quickly escalated into a full-scale conflict. Rebel forces seized control of large parts of the north. The government retained control of the south. A fragile ceasefire came and went. The country remained divided. Roadblocks separated communities. Travel became dangerous. The future looked uncertain. While politicians struggled to find solutions, another story was unfolding thousands of kilometers away. A young footballer named Didier Drogba was building a career in Europe. Drogba wasn't a child prodigy. He didn't burst onto the scene as a teenage superstar. In fact, his rise was unusually slow. Born in Abidjan, he spent part of his childhood in France and moved between countries as his family searched for stability. His journey through football was filled with setbacks. He played for smaller clubs. He struggled with injuries. For years, few people outside France had heard his name. Then everything changed. His performances began attracting attention. Goals started flowing. Soon, he became one of the most feared strikers in Europe. Powerful, aggressive, clinical in front of goal. When Chelsea signed him in 2004, he instantly became one of the most recognizable athletes in Africa. They saw a symbol of national pride, one of their own competing against the world's best. And during a time when the country seemed more divided than ever, the national team became one of the few things that united people. Whether they lived in the north or the south, everyone wanted the same thing: victory. That is why the 2006 World Cup qualification campaign felt so important. Match after match, the nation followed every result. Hope grew. Then came the decisive game. The pressure was immense. An entire country was watching. When Ivory Coast secured qualification, celebrations erupted across both sides of the divide. For one night, politics seemed irrelevant. For one night, people shared the same joy. Most players would have stopped there. Celebrate, sing, enjoy the moment. But Drogba saw an opportunity. A chance that might never come again. With cameras broadcasting live across the country, he gathered his teammates. Then he spoke. Kneeling on the dressing room floor, he addressed the nation directly. He pleaded for forgiveness. He pleaded for unity. and he pleaded for peace. The image was powerful, not because he was a politician, not because he commanded an army, but because millions of people trusted him. His words spread across the country. Newspapers reported them, television stations replayed them. People discussed them in homes, markets and caves. Of course, a speech alone could not end a civil war. Conflicts are far more complicated than that. Many observers believe Drogba's appeal helped create momentum for reconciliation. It reminded people of something they had nearly forgotten. They were still one nation, and Drogba was not finished. A few years later, he pushed for a World Cup qualifying match to be held in Bouake, a city that had become a stronghold of the rebels. It was a bold and risky proposal, yet the match went ahead. Thousands gathered peacefully. Government supporters, rebel supporters, families, children, football fans. People who had spent years on opposite sides of a conflict stood together in the same stadium. The match became a powerful symbol. The match became a powerful symbol of what the country could become. Today, Didier Drogba is remembered for his goals, his trophies, and his legendary career. But many people believe his greatest contribution happened away from the football pitch. At a time when his country was divided, he used his voice to bring people together. And that is why Didier Drogba became more than a football. He became a symbol of unity,